If you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them. And every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And then you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because like in the Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be. And then he closes the door. Like right now, this moment that you're going through is Trinity opening the door and being like, you could go back, but then you'd have to remember exactly what the reason was that you decided not to go out to begin with, just because you listen to this podcast and you consume this content. You're like, I can do more than this. Like, because you are starting to live in some of that hell where you look in the mirror and you're like, I can do more. And you start to see the person that you could be. And you're like, this does start to feel like hell.
You know, sometimes bad things, horrible things happen to good people. Life isn't fair, and it can be heart-wrenching. And if you're having one of those dark days, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel that darkness.
It won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But in the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably, that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship. It's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time, because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you. You don't have the resources to go like get someone no one can learn it for you. It's like there's a lot of the things that we care about a lot. Like, no one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, like, it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you. And then you're like, fuck, it's me again.
The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, you know, life created this person, me. Life created me to be this person that I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this shit, though. Mm-hmm. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where the shit started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you.
Mm-hmm. I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero.
When you're built different than everybody else and you have this desire for more and this desire for achievement and this desire to win, everybody else looks at you like you're f***ed up. And they'll tell you that too. You know, what the f*** is wrong with you? Like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just do this? Because I'm just not built that way, man. And it's sort of embracing the fact that this provides a lot of good, but there's a lot of things that you have to deal with that aren't so good.
People don't care about you as much as you think they do. Massive amounts of people leave greatness inside of them out of fear of what others will think, you know, and I did that for a very long time. It took me a while to get to the point where I would put myself out there, all out of fear of what people think.
When I wake up every day, there's only one voice I have to listen to. And so then it's like, just do it for me.
So forgive me, but if you're going to create anything of value in this life, you're going to, even if it's with other people, you're going to have to be willing to be on your own for a bit, to forage on your own, to take walks alone, and then return to people, to your tribe, so to speak, and share with them what you've learned, or maybe even just show up with whatever energy shift has occurred while you were off.
Most people walk around parroting other people's words for the vast majority of their lives. And so they basically act as recorders, where they clicked record at one point of their life, and then they click play in another time of their life, and they're just clicking record, play, record, play, record, play over and over again. And it makes sense that people feel alone and they feel like they're acting because they never say what they think. And as a result, they also sound like everyone else because they were never themselves to begin with.
Best advice you ever received?
A man named Rich told me once in Diamond Bar, we're in a meeting and we're looking at everybody, and we're in this backyard, and I'm in the corner, I'm looking at everybody. Everybody's having dinner and they're at these tables, and I pull Rich aside. I said, Rich, give me the one best advice. And he starts, I said, no, I said, I want one above everything. And he said, look at everybody here. They're all going to read just a few books and learn a few quotes, few titles, few stories to tell from the books they read. And once they make 100, 250,000, they're going to slow down. He said, if you keep out improving these guys consistently, eventually none of these guys will be your competitors. And he was absolutely right. So I came back. I took self-improvement to a whole different level based on what he told me. And it became an obsession. And I noticed, you know what? He was right.
And the only thing I won was being alone. And they think the whole life you think, oh, I'll just keep judging and keeping people at a distance. But guess what? There's this thing in the distance making you think, oh, that you win somehow, that I win somehow by doing that. I'm not saying you, I'm saying me. But then I get to the end of my life and I'll realize, you know what? I didn't win anything by doing that. That was a trick. I want to be able to be as loving as I can, and I know that sometimes I have to examine relationships in my life to see where I have hang-ups.
The energy it requires to start doing something is way more than the energy required to continue doing the thing. And the beginning of doing anything results in the lowest amount of reward, both internal and external, than when you've been doing it for ages.
In your brain is the most powerful weapon. I talk about that in one of these chapters. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit you have nowadays, yeah, that's great. We're up to date. Your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kind of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're f***ed. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
You always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you. And that visual, I think, is one that you can kind of take, because it is
that most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever, because it's true. And I've been that guy. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell.
Life. What is life? What the is your life? Are you happy with it? And if so, is just the intake and outtake of breath makes you put a smile on your face? That's something your mother gave you. You haven't earned that. What have you done with your life to make it something else besides the normality of everybody else? The intake and the outtake of what you call life is nothing more than time. And unless done something with, it's forgotten about. There's no footprint of your existence left for anyone else to follow. Life is time. And a life that's remembered, where a footprint is followed behind in footsteps of inspiration and motivation, is when time is met with opportunity and action. They collide to be a life of remembrance. The problem is, most people don't have a plan. And without a plan of your own life, you become the plan of someone else's life.
The difficult part of the lonely chapter is that the Rocky cutscene lasts 90 seconds in the movie and lasts 5 years in reality. That's what's painful, is that it takes more effort to start in the beginning, and more people are right about the fact, they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still fucking right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be fucking right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong. Because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades.
There's 1,000 ways to say this. But listen, because I'm only going to say it once. I fought for it. Because no one gave it to me. Because it was just me. Me alone in the gym. Me alone in the mirror. Me alone in my head. No one did it for me. I worked for it. And I'm never going to let someone else take that from me.
I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another talk.
Everybody, when I was sleeping on the gym floor, right? Like, you know, I was the underdog, and everyone, you know, my clients were all like, oh, good for you. You know, you're going after your dream. And they'd see my blanket and my pillow in the corner of the gym, and they knew I was sleeping there. And it was evident, you know, I lived there. I didn't have a shower. I didn't have a shower to go to the YMCA. I had to go shower. That everybody was like pro me. And then people would come in, they sign up like, I'm going to support you. Right. And then within 9 months, I had hired people and I had a manager, and I pulled up, and I remember I walked in the lobby, and all the same people were like, boss man's here. Oh, you're not too good for us now, right? And I remember being so jarred by the experience, and I was like, you guys rooted for me. And I was like, and now I did what you said you were rooting for me to do. And that was when I realized that people want you to do well, but not better than them.
So when I win, it's awesome. It's always great to win. Winning is a great feeling in business, in sports, in life. There's going to be wins and there's going to be losses. And you have to take them both in stride, and you have to be able to, you know what I mean? These are all part of being in the game. When you're in the game, great things happen and really bad things happen. And you got to take it all in stride, and you got to pick yourself up the next day, strap your shoes back on, and get out there and go to war again.
I hear the clock ticking. That's what I hear. And the end is nigh, and time waits for no man. Life goes by, and it goes by quick. Don't waste those years. Don't waste them. Live them.
It's like, how far could you take that if you stopped wasting time, and if you stopped lying, and if you oriented yourself to the highest possible good that you could conceive of, and you committed to that? How much good could you do? Well, I would say, why don't you find out?
If somebody ever told you you only live once, they a damn lie. You only die once. You live every day. Get up and get it.
No one is patient. And for you to lose weight, for you to stop drinking, for you, whatever the hell you're going through, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of pitfalls, a lot of plateaus. You're gonna hit so many plateaus. If you don't know how to get around that plateau, it's not gonna happen fast.
Admit it, you aren't like them. You're not even close.
Never
ever give up. Don't give up.